People think that stories are shaped by people. In fact, it's the other way around. That's a quote from Terry Pratchett, and it comes out of Wise Guy, the book, the most recent book from Guy Kawasaki, which we're going to talk about today in Big Ideas in Books, a nurturing Big Ideas book review. Presented by me, Yvonne DiVita, your Big Idea facilitator. So today, as I said, it's Guy Kawasaki, and I'm bringing this book up today. He calls it Wise Guy. I really took my time as I was reading this book. Guy Kawasaki and I go way back, and if he ever gets to listen to this, it may make him smile. I interviewed him on my blog, Lipsticking, many years ago. I think it might have been in 2005. And he was up and coming, and he was doing interesting things. And I had an opportunity in my Smart Men Online. So the Lipsticking blog was about smart marketing to women online, and it became smart marketing for women. And within that, I wanted to talk to smart women online and smart men online. And Guy Kawasaki was one of them. Back then, I asked him about starting a blog, and he laughed and said he didn't think he had time for a blog. Well, he has a blog today. But the reality is, and the reason we're talking about him today, is because he is one of the most approachable celebrities, people, professionals that I've ever known. He listens to people. He takes questions. He was happy to be interviewed on Lipsticking back then. He didn't know me. He didn't know who I was. He'd only recently been introduced to the whole concept of blogging, I believe. But my gosh, he was friendly. My gosh, he did not say, no, I don't have time for this. I'm a big celebrity. I can't do it. And you know, when I got the invitation to review this book, Wise Guy, Lessons from a Life, I didn't hesitate. I said, of course, I need to do this. I want to read this. And I did, and it's an absolutely fantastic, marvelous book. And as you can see written here, it is his most personal book to date. It's more of a story than a business book, but take my word for it, you're going to learn a lot in this book about business, about success, about how to make a mistake and get back up. He did it, just like we do it. And he came away with these ideas that he wants to share, with these thoughts about parenting. I'm not going to talk about his parenting sections in the book, but he has some. His kids are everything. That will probably resonate with you if you're a woman like me with children and grandchildren, or you are a woman with nieces and nephews, whatever. I want to read you his online blurb about himself from his website. In total, Guy covers everything from moral values to business skills to parenting. He writes, I hope my stories help you live a more joyous, productive, and meaningful life. If Wise Guy succeeds at this, then that's the best story of all. I have to say that, you know, he talks about joyous, productive, and meaningful life. And that's what it's about, folks. That is exactly what it's about. What you leave behind is not what is engraved in stone monuments, but what is woven into the lives of others. Pericles. This is also from the book. Notice the hashtag. So if you talk about this, please use the proper hashtag. Hashtag Wise Guy. Little known fact about Guy, which I learned reading the book, is that he's named after Guy Lombardo. His dad was a musician. His dad figures very heavily in the book, so does his mom. Very family-centered and oriented is the background that he comes from. Now, I love Guy Lombardo. Famous Canadian band leader, if you don't know who he is. He wowed audiences in movies with his music in the mid-1900s. Not sure. Should have gone and looked up some of his movies. I just tell you that I loved his musicals. If you aren't familiar with Guy Kawasaki, well, I just can't believe that. Everyone knows Guy Kawasaki. But here's a little bit about him from his website. He's the chief evangelist of Canva. You know Canva, it's the online graphic design tool. I use Canva and I make some of the quotes and the pictures that go into blog posts. I am not a designer, but Canva sure helps me be a better designer. I still could learn a lot, and I need to take some classes. But he was kind of lured or brought in by Canva to be a chief evangelist. I mean, what a great title that is, right? He saw the power of it. He saw the need for it, and so he did that. And he's a brand ambassador for Mercedes-Benz, executive fellow with the Haas School of Business, UC Berkeley. You can see other things that he did. The Art of the Start was his first book, which is also amazing, amazing. It would not hurt you to go back and get that book also. But I really want you to get Wise Guy. Wise Guy is just such a phenomenal, uplifting, inspirational read. And there's some business advice in it also. He says in the book that one book can change your life. One book did change his life. This book by Brenda Euland, If You Want to Write. I haven't got the book yet, but I can't wait to get it. I want to read it now. He talks about it quite a bit in this particular chapter that I pulled this off from. He says it empowered him to think freely, creatively, and boldly. Well, if you get a sense that Guy Kawasaki is a very bold person. And by that, I mean, he just goes out and he does things. And sometimes he gets in trouble. If you read the book, you'll see he got himself into trouble now and then. He's not immune to it. But this book, he says, enabled him to write his first book, which I have not read, The Macintosh Way. I'm sorry, Guy, I am not a Mac user. Anyway, it helped him become a writer by removing his limitations. And that's why I had to include these two quotes. There are more in Wise Guy, but these two quotes spoke to me because this book is about art, independence, and spirit. Women should neglect their housework to write. You can read it along with me, but I'm going to say it again. Women should neglect their housework to write. It sounds a little bit like Virginia Woolf, doesn't it? It's true. Are you a writer and a woman? Your housework can wait. Be careless, reckless. Be a lion, be a pirate when you want to write. So when I saw that second quote, it reminded me of my days writing fiction and how hard it was for me to learn show, don't tell. And there's an element of telling the reader what they want to know or what you want them to know, whereas in school, in creative writing, you will learn to show. And the way you show is to be the lion, be the pirate, be whatever it is that you're writing about. Yeah, I can understand why this book moved Guy Kawasaki. His book is no doubt moving the hundreds and thousands of people who are reading it now. Wise Guy, you should be one of them. This is a funny story. So this is one of the things about Guy. He laughs at himself. He is so good at telling stories and letting people kind of get the joke that was the joke on him. He's not a comedian, so to speak, but it behooves all of us to learn to laugh at ourselves, no matter what we're doing. In this story, he's riding around in his El Camino, and that's a car. Okay, what do I know about cars? I know nothing. My husband knows everything about cars. I mentioned this to him, and then he goes into this long dissertation on what an El Camino is, and I really don't care. It's a car. So he's riding around this car, and he pulls up to a light. I think it's some teenage girls in the car next to him start giggling at him, and he's like, what the heck? And they lean through the window and say, are you Jackie Chan? Jackie Chan, the martial arts movie star. Well, he's not Jackie Chan. He was sort of flattered to be thought of as Jackie Chan, but in the end, he wants people to understand all Asians don't look alike. And, you know, we human beings tend to do that. Men do that to women if they don't notice a change of clothes or a new hairdo or anything, because it isn't important to them. And we're women and we all look alike, so to speak, in one way or another. But it taught Guy something. He decided that he was going to work on his fame, if not his fortune, until girls started asking Jackie Chan, "Are you Guy Kawasaki?" How cool is that? I mean, that's one of the things that he learned, one of the stories that he teaches, because it convinced him, it inspired him to continue and focus and become something bigger than he was at the time. So people would ask if he was, if asked Jackie Chan if he was Guy Kawasaki. Now, he did meet Jackie Chan. There's a story in the book about how he met Jackie Chan, and that is why the picture is there, and you need to go buy the book. I'm not going to tell you about that story. It's a really good story. Don't flatter yourself. We're all specks of dust in the universe. How depressing is that? Oh, you know, we're all about grabbing big ideas here, grabbing opportunity and serving our passion. This is what he means here in a way. He tells us to get out there and make things happen. Do it for yourself in the business you're building. Or he doesn't tell you that. I'm sorry. I tell you that. What he says is that everyone is equal in more ways than they are unequal. And you need to find that brilliance that sets you apart in the universe from all the other specks of dust in the universe. You need to be part of the community that is important to you to serve, so that as you're blowing about in the universe, you can make a difference. And that's what it's about. Making a difference for you to shine in the community that you belong to for the good of others. It isn't about you yourself. So while we want to inspire people, he wants to inspire people to be better than they are. It's all part of one big whole. It's all part of, so the little communities are part of, bigger communities are part of the entire world. And we're all specks of dust in the universe. And I'm happy to have more conversation about that if you'd like. It's a big one. It's a big one to kind of get your head around when everyone else is saying, you're unique. There's no one else in the whole universe like you. True, there isn't, but you're just part of a bigger plan, and you need to understand where you fit in that plan. I like this especially because he says when drama occurs, you ask yourself, so what? All of life is about the so what question. Ask yourself, is what's happening to me a major catastrophe or a minor occurrence? That is what I tell people. Will all life on earth end if what's happening isn't stopped or changed? Or will life go on? Will folks get over it? Will we all survive? God tells it a little differently, maybe a little gentler, maybe a little better. He writes, you need to ask, so what? This may not help prevent or avoid problems, but it will help put crises into perspective. And perspective is everything if you want a joyful and productive life. Doesn't mean you shouldn't work hard, but if everything doesn't go as planned, ask yourself, so what, a few times and see if it matters. So I say, see if it matters, but also see how much it matters. Be brutal, be serious. How much does this really matter? I'm sitting at a red light and I'm late for the meeting, or I'm late for a speech I'm about to give. It isn't. That's a minor occurrence, okay? Calm down, apologize when you arrive, and remind yourself, you got to leave a little earlier for those kinds of things the next time. Where have you heard this before? Be kind, flexible, and humble. Wise Guy talks about this throughout the book in one way or another, because it's what the world is, turns the world. It's what it's about. It's what we're about. You know, he wants you to be open and embraceable and approachable. I told you when we started this particular review, he is approachable. He was approachable. I have not really been in touch with him. It's not like we sit down and have coffee, but he sent out an email saying, would you like to review my new book? And I know I was among many others who got this email, but here's the thing. Again, it wasn't, oh, you and I have done all sorts of things in the past. It was, you're part of my community. You're on my list. You get things from me because you have asked, and here's something I'm willing now to give back. I feel like when you offer someone your book, that is a give back. And so I did it. It was digital, by the way. I don't always do ebooks, but it was wonderful. It was absolutely marvelous. I would read it in the morning, and it would help inspire me for the day. So one of the things, again, flexible, kind, humble. He says, don't be afraid to show weakness. Strong people can admit a mistake, change their minds, and tolerate humiliation. That's the first step to building strength. Whereas weak people really are afraid to show vulnerability, and they think it gives their competition, their opponent, the advantage, or it might position them poorly. I'm not quite sure how it positions anyone poorly if you admit mistakes, if you're willing to be humble. So what I say is that we are the privileged people. We who buy books and study how to be a success in the business we are passionate about building. We are the ones tasked with being flexible in our lives, with being kind because it's the right thing to do, with being humble because others are just as important as we are. Maybe they're more important. And Guy Kawasaki talks about that and shares it in many of his stories. The stories about his family and his children and his daughters. Yes, worth reading. So what I want you to do is share Guy Kawasaki's book, Wise Guy. I want you to go buy it. I want you to share this video book review and my slideshow here, and tune in for more book reviews coming soon. I want to do one a week for the time being. It may have to drop down later on. Don't be selfish, be nice, share these with your friends. And as ever, if you have a desire for a specific book topic, please write to what's your big idea at nurturingbigideas.com and tell us. If you have a book you'd like us to review, email me at Yvonne at YvonneDiVita.com. Include the subject line, book for review on nurturing big ideas. And that's all we've got today. I hope that you will tune in next time. I'm very excited about all the books that I do have to share. And again, they might be fiction. I really believe in sharing fiction and reading fiction, and how I will talk about how it helps in business to do so.